Looking back, it was pretty clear that there were times when we may not have known how this initiative would be successful, but we knew why it needed to happen. And really, there were three drivers. My recollection is three drivers of this initiative. One, as an industry, we needed to find a way to coordinate our efforts as an industry. Secondly, to consolidate our resources. And thirdly, to speak with one voice. And the last part was particularly important because we believed if through something like CPA, we could create enough critical mass that would ensure that we as the propane industry would be able to get a seat at the table, wherever that table is and whatever it looked like, we would be able to be our best own advocates or our own best advocates. Because the one thing Dave and I remember from our OPA days that was crystal clear is if we were not at the table, we risked being on the menu.
We needed that common one voice, that's for sure, but we also needed the bandwidth of more support, more volunteers, and but the one voice, and that was very important. Having a head office in Ottawa was also very important, the capital of Canada. I think that was something we certainly discussed and realized was very important as well.
It's a big country. Canada's a big piece of geography, and it was imperative to us that if we were going to represent Canada, that all Canadian stakeholders felt they were part of this new initiative. That means 2 official languages, managing the various jurisdictions, and recognizing the proud legacy of the PGAC, the OPA, and how could we honor that going forward by being a better organization together. But clearly, again, my recollection is that as Dave said, the opportunities outweighed the challenges. And I think, in fairness and to full credit of the people involved, there was a commitment to finding a way forward without really abandoning or disrespecting what had been done before, to honor that, but frankly, position CPA to do the best it could as an advocate for industry looking at the next 10 or 20 years. And really not being limited by what happened in the previous 10 or 20 years. And that really goes to the courage of the people who suited up and were part of this.
We all had that common goal, and I think that really was the big part of it. We all knew we needed to get there, so let's get there. And sure, we had problems, we had things we had to overcome, but with everybody going the same direction and wanting this, it certainly was beneficial. It's been really successful, highly successful. I mean, as Stephen said, in Ontario, we hardly ever were able to get at the table. But if you look at what's been going on over the last few years, propane is at the table now on a lot of conversations. Even with the Line 5 shutdown that Enbridge is going through in Michigan, every committee that I've witnessed or been involved in lately, propane's been a major component of that. Go back a couple years ago with the railroad strike. Canada realized how important propane is to the energy sector. And but certainly the CPA in Ottawa, I think that's been a big mover of that. And certainly propane is now much more relevant in the communities and across Canada, and with the politicians and the regulators.
As someone who's no longer in the industry, I perhaps have a slightly different perspective than Dave, and I agree with everything he said. I also think to the credit again of the people who manage the day-to-day operations of CPA, the leadership of CPA, and frankly the people that fund CPA, it's a very professional organization. Association work is hard. There are a lot of points of view to be considered, and again, it's a big country. A lot of stakeholders, and you know, we're a proud bunch of people, but the level of professionalism, the level of engagement, I think everyone who's part of this should be pretty satisfied, not content, we can always do better, but pretty satisfied that we've lived up to the expectations that were set out for us 10 years ago.
I'm very optimistic. I mean, if the past predicts the future, it's only going to get better. Certainly, as I said earlier, our voice is well known throughout Canada with everybody, and that only is going to help. And you know, propane is a real energy solution for low emissions and low carbon. Sure, it's not zero carbon, but we're not there yet. And propane has a bright future, and it still does. And I think the CPA and the members And the people on the boards are going to make that happen.
Propane it has a great story to tell, and one of our challenges historically was always being at the table and being in a position to tell the story. And certainly through the efforts of CPA and all of the people that support the activity of CPA, propane is better positioned today. I think it's more understood today. It's more respected and appreciated today. But it's still a story that needs to be told. And as the kind of the public policy and public domain conversations continue in the green space, propane needs to ensure that it's part of that conversation, again, because we have so much to say. The journey also has to be fun, and we can be very process-driven and task-oriented and goal-oriented and all the other great metrics, but boy, as volunteers, it has to be fun. And I look back, and notwithstanding the challenges, Dave, we did have a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. And I hope that people are still having fun and enjoying time together, because the camaraderie and the like-mindedness, it's pretty valuable.
And that's one of the highlights to me. I mean, sure, the working sessions are always good, but you know what? The networking, seeing your friends that you know from the industry, because everybody's busy and everybody goes about their day, but when you all get together at an event like that and you're talking about business, you're going to the working sessions, it's all fun, and that's the part I really enjoy.